What is up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? We are live here talking some baseball today. Just doing a quick little check of the fantasy team before we get started. I lost yesterday. What happened here? How did he get so many points? Patrick Wisdom got 50. That will do it. 50 points is a lot. I did not have a single pitcher go. That also makes sense. All right, let's move on. What's up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Talking some baseball today with you guys. Excited to be out here. Excited to be divulging into what's going on. What's up there, Joe? What's up, Salty Wings? What's up, Odd? How we doing? Not a great day in fantasy for me yesterday. Braves are the best team in baseball, but I know Mark will disagree. I mean, they're playing like it right now. Definitely playing like it. Is Kelenic back? He might be. Kelenic might be back. I'm not going to say he isn't, you know. He might. Kelenic might be back. Let's go ahead and how we all doing, chat, by the way? I know I missed yesterday. I was just tired. I was really tired. Did not sleep well the night before. Just couldn't do it. And I also had a Bleacher Report stream that I had to do. What's up, Alvaro? Rangers to the ALCS. They're playing really good baseball. Thoughts on Pablo Lopez contract? It's great. It's a fantastic contract. He's looking really, really good. So shout out to the Twins for making a good move. Robert should be fired. I don't know if he should be fired, you know, but that Dodgers team just is not as good as they have been in the past. Pirates a wild card team? I don't think so. Not this year, but it's coming. Maybe in the near future, but I'd be shocked if they make the wild card this year. There's too many actual good teams in the National League for them to kind of get a spot. I think I might be lucky. When I first started watching the Mets-Dodgers game, Freddie hit a home run. When I came back to watch again, Canna got a hit and Vogie got a home run. All right, Beast, we need you to watch again tonight. Dude, you're playing fantasy as Tatis? Uh-oh. Do you recommend picking up Brent Rooker or Patrick Wisdom? Pick up both. Why not? If you got the room. Buccos are this year's Orioles? Maybe. I could get behind that. Rangers City connects. I love them and I hate them. When is the next buy or sell? Well, we did drop one this weekend, so it'll probably be a couple weeks. Do the Twins win the Central? I still going to go with the Guardians. I stick with my picks, but the Twins look very good. Dodgers look real mid. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to talk about Monday's games. I am going to talk about Monday's games. Yes, I am going to talk about those. I just realized I didn't have water, so let me go grab some water real quick, and then we'll start talking. Yeah, pajama pants. Let's ride. All right, let's start talking about some baseball here. Twins have to cut down strikeouts and they will have a chance. Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't want to strike out. All right, let's talk about some ball here. Start off with the Angels, Red Sox games that screwed some people over in fantasy baseball, screwed me over in So Rare, because Shohei Ohtani only ends up going 2 because of a rain. That was a killer. That really sucked. My So Rare week is dead. But the Angels win again, move to 8-8. They're just an okay team. Zach Neto leading off for them, getting his first hit of his major league career, which was pretty cool. Ohtani's a beast at the plate. Hunter Renfroe hit a bomb back in Boston. Jake Lamb 3 for 4. And again, on the mound, it just sucked that Ohtani could not pitch more, because obviously fantasy-wise it would have been great, especially because it was a 2-start week for Ohtani, which hasn't happened often. But yeah, this one was a little bit tough as a fantasy owner, but it was a good game overall. I mean, the Red Sox, they can swing it. We know that. We know that they've been able to hit. They definitely do miss Duvall. Yoshida has cooled off quite a bit, but Rafael Devers is still an absolute beast at the plate. There honestly is not much to talk about, I feel like, in this game. It's just Angels, Red Sox. It was marathon day, so they started super, super early, and that was that. In terms of Reds and the Rays here. Reds get a win over the Rays, and the Rays have not won in a couple days. Well, I guess they did win recently, but they've hit a little bit of a skid, which is funny because, I mean, they started the year off, 13-0. But they lost to the Reds, which is a bit shocking, and the Reds are playing a little bit better baseball than we expect. I don't know how this is possible. I have no clue, but Kevin Newman has his second home run. Kevin Newman had a day. Home run, a double, a hit. He was a triple away from the cycle. Kevin Newman was DHing? Is there something going on with Kevin Newman that I don't know about? Is Kevin Newman hitting the ball harder or something this year? Because if he is, I mean, that would be crazy. That's nuts that he DH'd. Manoah smells. Yeah, well, there's Barstool actually put out like a really good TikTok, which I'm like kind of shocked about. No, he still hits the ball like a little girl. Barstool put out a really good TikTok about Manoah. We could talk about that in a second. But, yeah, finishing up with the Reds talk here. Kevin Newman, Hunter Green. Is there a reason Hunter Green only went 3 innings? Can someone explain that to me? I didn't watch this game. I'd love to know why Hunter Green only threw 47 pitches in 3 innings. Was there rain in this game or something? Why did he do that? Josh Lowe, I don't know if you guys can pick him up in fantasy, but Josh Lowe he got hurt. Oh, no. Okay. I did not see that. But yeah, Josh Lowe has been really, really good. If you can pick him up in your fantasy league, he would be pretty solid. He's been playing a lot. He got hit with a comeback or just a contusion, though. Okay, he's fine. He's fine. Jalen Beeks doing like that opener type thing. Jeff Criswell? Is this Jeff Criswell? Oh, Cooper Criswell. Okay. I was about to say, did Jeff Criswell get the call up finally? Nope, it's Cooper. Completely different person. But yeah, the Rays lose again. I don't think Rays fans are worried by any means, but for sure, the hot start has come to a bit of a halt. Wander Franco got a little bit of a slump right now. Randy keeps hitting. I don't like Wander in the 4 spot. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would switch him and Brandon Lau. If I were making this lineup, I'd switch those two. But I'm sure Kevin, Kevin Cash knows what he's doing. Barstool Baseball's content has taken a giant leap off the cliff without Carabas. I'll pull up the thing to talk about Alec Manoah now, because I did think it was like pretty solid. As we hear the police, they're coming for me. Let's go with Baseball, I think it is.
What's your name?
Where is it? Yeah, I think it's this one. Hold on. Yeah, I think this is actually the one I'm talking about here, where it talks about that the heavier pitchers are having a really, really difficult time with the pitch clock, which makes sense. And honestly, something that we definitely overlooked is that, like, you definitely kind of have to be in a little bit better shape because there's a lot less time. Like, you throw a pitch, you don't have time. You can't really just take your deep breaths. You can't really relax. And Alec Manoah is kind of good proof that, maybe he needs to lose a little weight or get in some better shape here. Again, I'm not one to really fat shame here, but Alec Manoah definitely is a little chunky, a little bit on the thicker side, and he has been struggling. He also, regression was coming for Alec Manoah. He just simply was not actually that good last year, and this is something that people got really mad about in my rankings, was the fact that I didn't put Alec Manoah higher. But there were times where he just simply wasn't actually that good. But yeah, 7 walk per 9. Not off to a great start. But I do think that there's definitely a real, really something to look at here with pitchers being a little bit thicker that are struggling with the pitch clock. You can be chunky and still be in good shape, but he doesn't seem like, you are right, Luke. Like, I mean, relatively speaking, offensive linemen in the NFL are, like, technically obese, but they're in unbelievable shape, which doesn't make any sense, but it does. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Yeah, so Manoah, I know this has nothing to do with the game we're talking about here, Manoah. But Manoah has been bad, has not been good whatsoever. Look at his numbers. The strikeout rate's super down to 16%. The walk rate is super, super high. He's getting hit. That 2-whip is not good. 15 walks in 19 innings is just horrendous, especially if you're not striking anybody out. Yeah, Manoah not looking great. But yeah, Rays lose. Reds win. Good win for the Reds. Bad loss for the Rays. Got the Giants versus the Marlins. The Marlins, low-key, I think if you take away everybody but the Mets, they're like 7-2 or something like that, I think, this year, or 7-3. They have a fantastic record if they did not have to play the Mets. Maybe they're a little bit better than we thought. Maybe. I mean, Luis Ariz is really carrying this team. Garrett Cooper's been great. He's a good hitter. Brian De La Cruz is finally starting to maybe get a breakout season. And with Brian De La Cruz, he's always hit the ball really hard. He's always been a barrel king. It's just a matter of whether or not he got the playing time. And thank goodness for, I mean, I don't love it because I'm a Mets fan, but Skip Schumacher seems like kind of decently smart. And he's like, oh, you're good. I'm going to play you. I'm not going to worry about playing Jesus Sanchez over you or Avisail Garcia. We're going to play Brian De La Cruz every single day. Now, Jazz Chisholm also, I'm going to pull up a tweet here from, I believe it was Mike Petriello, maybe, about Jazz Chisholm's center field defense, but it is vastly improved. Let's take a look. Yes, it is from Mike Petriello. So pull up this tweet. And it's talking about Jazz Chisholm's defense. It's definitely starting to get a little bit better. So 25% catch probability. And he made it look very, very easy. So these are things to keep an eye out for. Really fantastic jump. That's 7.6 feet better than average in the first 3 seconds and in the right direction. An average jump leaves him 7.6 feet short and maybe requires a dive. A bad jump gives him no shot, but great jump made it look easy. Tremendous play. These are the kind of plays I really like. We all get sucked into a guy making a dive or robbing a home run in front of a 5-foot wall, but these never get the notice they deserve. The eye checks out. 100%. Yeah, he's definitely improving in center field right now, Jazz Chisholm, which is huge, because he looked absolutely horrible. Jesus Luzardo pitched exactly like Jesus Luzardo does, which is get hit, give up some walks, but also strike out guys and be okay. And the bullpen held it down. On the Giants side, I believe this was Logan Webb's first start since he got the extension, and he was fine. He wasn't great. He was just fine, and they lose this one. There's just not a lot of offense on the Giants side besides like Tyro Estrada, who's pretty good. J.D. Davis has been swinging it well. And Joey Bart, maybe Joey Bart is figuring it out. Like, maybe. I don't know if he really is or not. I haven't been, like, locked into Giants games per se, but the Giants stink. And I did say that they were going to be bad. I did say the Giants were going to be awful, and they are terrible. I can't even like say the Giants are liars and they can't be trusted because I don't think anybody thought they were going to be good, but they look bad, and I think Gabe Kapler is on his way out. Let's talk about this Rangers-Royals game for a second. The Royals look horrendous. Last place in the AL Central. Still can't hit. The batting averages on this side are still not good. Vinny Pasquantino, though, I think has like a 150 WRC plus, which like is like super, super quiet. But MJ Melendez might just not hit ever. The more and more I watch him, I go, man, like I get the excitement, but I don't know how we get there because it's just, he's a great athlete. He's super strong, but there's just not a lot of great bat-to-ball skills consistently. Bobby Witt can hit, though. Bobby Witt can hit. You're right, Sergeant Gibby. Bobby Witt can hit. He's starting to heat up a little bit, too, even with an 0 for 3. Shout out to Jordan Lyles, who pitched a phenomenal game. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. This is a phenomenal game by Jordan Lyles. It's just the Royals made a couple errors. And on the Rangers side, losing Corey Seager was big, definitely affects this team, but they still were able to get the job done. Josh Young, my boy, Josh Young, got the start in my fantasy lineup this week. He's been looking fantastic, still an absolute stud. DeGrom left this game early with what was an apparent wrist injury, which is, I guess, good if you're a Rangers fan. That doesn't sound like it's going to be too serious, more precautionary. More cautionary. Precautionary? I don't know what the right way to use that is. But Dane Dunning. You guys know about Dane Dunning? Dane Dunning was a top pitching prospect in the White Sox organization when they traded for Lance Lynn. And Dane Dunning's off to a really, really solid start this year. Now, like, none of the numbers are going to jump off the page. Like, he's not striking dudes out. But in the little role that he does have coming out of the pen, which is kind of perfect with what the Rangers rotation is, which is like a lot of high variance guys, so they could just like eventually just have like a bad start. And Dane Dunning's been able to kind of clean up in that role, and he's been very, very good so far. Like we said, 15 innings, hasn't given up an earned run. It's a really, really good job by Dane Dunning to start the year. And the Rangers moved to 10-6. Rangers are winning some games. Rangers looking dangerous. I had a bet back in, let me take a look at my DraftKings app here. Because back in, let me log in. I think I still have this bet open. I'd love to see if there's a cash out yet. It's probably way too early. But yeah, there is a cash out. It's still half the money. But back in on November, no, what day was this? On November 5th, 2022, so the next day, I guess after like the World Series is supposed to end, I bet $9 on the Rangers to win the World Series at plus 5,000. So that'd win me $459. I'm not saying the Rangers are going to win the World Series, but the Rangers are definitely playing good baseball. The Rangers might look like a real team that has a shot to make the postseason. Just good players. Like Marcus Semion's good. I'm not going to get excited about Travis Jankowski. I'm sure he'll cool off, but like Nathaniel Lowe is good. Josh Young is good. Jonah Heim's a solid catcher. The bottom of this order is definitely weak, and their pitching is definitely like they have to stay healthy. But if things go right, they could definitely be a wild card team for sure. I know the Astros are off to a slow start, but I have not lost faith in them in the slightest. For everybody out here on the stream, if you like what you see, Monday through Friday, every day, 11 a.m., subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out, and drop a like on the stream. It really does help support. A little thumbs up here does go a long way for me. All right, let's talk about the Diamondbacks versus the Cardinals. Diamondbacks, another one of these teams, looking pretty solid. And the Cardinals are in last place. The Cardinals have not been playing good baseball recently. Should the Cardinals be worried? That is a fair question, Sergeant Gibby. Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. Here's why. The offense is good, still hitting the ball well. I mean, there are some guys that have gotten a little bit cold, but their offense, still believe in it, still good. Like Arenado, Goldschmidt, all those guys. Burleson looks like a very, very good player. But where you get worried is, say it with me, everybody in the chat. What have I been saying since we started the season? What scares me about the Cardinals team? Luke said it. Cardinals pitching staff is a joke. Their pitching is not good. Jack Flaherty was off to a good start in this game, but he went a little bit too long. And then Andre Pallante came in, and Andre Pallante just kind of stinks. There's just no way around it. He's just not a very good pitcher. But pitching, thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are beasts. Beast Dude, Jack Attack, Steven Strang, Shooters on the Loose, King Higgins. Pitching. And, yeah, they just can't really pitch. Although Genesis Cabrera getting 2 innings out of the pen like that, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, their starters are bad. There's really no good pitching in St. Louis. On the starting side, so that affects the bullpen because the bullpen has to do heavy lifting. They just can't really get it done. And the Diamondbacks are a solid little team. Ketel Marte swinging the bat well. Pavin Smith got that grand slam off Andre Pallante later on in that inning. Ketel Marte swinging it well. Josh Rojas still staying hot. And Christian Walker hasn't even really figured out how to hit this year. Corbin Carroll is a little bit cold, but Corbin Carroll, first walk of the year. First walk of the year for Corbin Carroll. Woo! We did it. 17 games into the season, we got a walk. Cardinals underperforming. Diamondbacks playing very well. 2 teams to keep an eye out for moving on this year. All right, let's talk about the Astros versus the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman looked like a human for once this year. Got shelled a little bit in this one, but he did give them some length. I was shocked they didn't pull him earlier. I thought they were going to, but he did get shelled. 4 2/3, 7 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Not a great game for him. Matt Chapman, though, continues to absolutely mash. I don't know why he was hitting behind Dalton Varsho. I don't know why. Why are the Blue Jays not hitting Matt Chapman higher? Doesn't make any sense to me. The dude is literally playing on a different level. Matt Chapman is just doing some absolutely crazy things right now. His baseball savant's going to look crazy to you. I hit the ball harder than everyone. I'm barreling more than everyone. And I'm also not chasing, which I think Chapman has always been a not chase guy. Yeah. But his defense is weirdly not great. Interesting. I mean, it's early in the season, so it's a few plays. But look at the spread of his hits. He's just crushing the baseball. And when you look at the average exit velo, actually, I don't need to go there. Average exit velo, he's averaging 98.6 miles per hour every single time he hits the ball. By the way, look at what the top percentage of the league is where he normally hangs out. 93, 94, 92, top 2%. He's at 98.6% right now. He's just absolutely playing on another level. Look at his xwOBA graph. This is not even real. This isn't even real. He's been literally cash money since the All-Star break last year. He's probably finally healthy, and I think the Blue Jays might have figured something out with him offensively as well that is really, really working. So shout out to Matt Chapman and the Blue Jays. I don't know why I X'd out of that. We still got to talk about the Astros, though, because The Astros starting to heat it up a little bit offensively, swinging it a little bit better. Corey Julks got his second home run of his career. He's swinging it well. He's been like a nice little player for them. Kyle Tucker still doing his Kyle Tucker thing. Yordan Alvarez did not have a great game, but it's, of course, Yordan Alvarez. Mauricio Dubon kind of been playing well for Jose Altuve in that spot. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't think it will last. But the Astros are getting performances. And then Christian Javier, very, very good starter. And the Astros have a solid bullpen, even though Ryan Presley hasn't pitched, I think, in almost a week. Big win, good win for them. I'm not going to say big win. There's no big wins. There are some big wins in April. But that's a solid win for the Astros. Try to get them off the schneid a little bit. Pirates versus the Rockies. Pirates smacking around bad teams. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they're not a bad team. They're probably still not a good team, but they're definitely not bad. Like, them handling the Rockies in Colorado, first game of the series, it's a good sign. It's a good sign for your Pirates fan. And they were swinging the bats well. Andrew McCutchen's had a really, really good year. I want to see what his baseball savant stuff looks like. Andrew McCutchen. Because McCutchen, I think, has like a 130 WRC plus right now or something crazy like that. This is all really, really good signs here. Hitting the ball hard. Barrel rate's fine for an older player. He's playing great outfield. My goodness. And he's running. Did Andrew McCutchen drink from the fountain of youth, or is he just excited to be back in Pittsburgh? There's no way. I guess his sprint speed has been that high. I thought Andrew McCutchen slowed down. I could have sworn that Andrew McCutchen slowed down. All right, I guess he's still unbelievably fast out there. But he's having a really, really good start to the year. 3 home runs, 302, 946 OPS. It's a big reason why I think the Pirates have been good. It's just that you have a couple of these like good veterans around, like Andrew McCutchen. I know Carlos Santana isn't necessarily playing out of his mind, but he's playing very well. And having those veterans around these younger players, I think, is rubbing off a little bit. You're seeing Rodolfo Castro starting to play very well, getting every single day playing time at shortstop. Keep Brian Hayes a couple hits on the day. Love to see that because he's still hitting the ball hard. Brian Reynolds can't be stopped. Jack Sawinski with a little pop in the middle of the lineup coming in later when the game got out of control. And Rich Hill doing that Rich Hill thing. He's like, I'm Rich Hill. You're going to get hits, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to get you out. Shout out to Rich Hill. Love to see it. As for the Rockies, Kyle Freeland just got absolutely shelled. Ty Block got shelled. This just isn't a good team. We know that. Chris Bryant, though, gets his second home run of the year along with a double. Was Bryant a triple? Bryant was a triple away from the cycle. Love saying that. Let's keep bringing it up. Triple away from the cycle. But yeah, end of the day, the Rockies are bad. The Rockies are not a good team. And there's really not much else to talk about here. But the Pirates are looking good. Pirates are looking good. Pirates are looking solid. Should be excited about it. One thing that I would like to talk about here is in this Cubs game. So you got the Patrick Wisdom 2 home run game. You got the Cubs swinging the bat very, very well in this one. But a little guy by the name of Cody Bellinger went 5 for 5, and all of a sudden Cody Bellinger's hitting 310. So let's go into YouTube mode here. Let's hit start recording. Is Cody Bellinger back? Is Cody Bellinger back? That is the question we want answered. He's off to a really, really good start this year. Cody Bellinger just went 5 for 5 against the Oakland A's. Granted, that's not much of an accomplishment, but still, baseball's impossible. You can hit the ball perfectly 5 out of 5 times, and you can still get out. So a 5 for 5 day is huge for Cody Bellinger, especially for a guy who really hadn't had much 5 for 5 days the last few years. So let's take a look at his baseball savant numbers real quick here. He isn't necessarily hitting the ball that hard. And when you look at Cody Bellinger in the past, 2019 was his MVP year. That's when you start to see like, oh, Cody Bellinger was different. Can we get back to these levels? Compare this to 2023. He's closer, but he is not hitting the ball at that same max exit velo that we once saw, and the hard hit rate is still low. So I don't necessarily know if I'm willing to say he's back, but Cody Bellinger might be better than what we've seen with the Dodgers the last few years. I don't think he's going back to those MVP levels. I don't know if he's going back to the all-star, like the true top center fielder levels, but at the absolute worst right now with the Cubs, you are getting a center fielder who is going to play very, very good defense in center field. You're getting a player who can be very productive in this lineup. I don't think he should do any of the heavy lifting. I don't think that he is that dude because, again, the numbers are not back to where the MVP level was. I don't think we're ever going to see that. But if he continues to play like this, he's going to be very, very valuable to the Chicago Cubs. And he had that huge 5 for 5 day, like we said, against the A's. Got the sirens going on in the background. This is the kind of stuff that can be super, super helpful to Cubs because this lineup is actually a lot better than we probably expected. Like Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson up top. These guys get on base. They get hits. Again, it's against the A's, so everything taken with a grain of salt. This is a AAA team. But Ian Happ has been great in the middle of the order. Seiya Suzuki's back, and Seiya looks phenomenal. Seiya Suzuki looks great. Patrick Wisdom, I think, is tied for the Major League lead with Pete Alonso with 8 home runs right now. That dude's swinging the bat well. Like, there are some really good things going on in Cubs land that make you excited, and having Cody Bellinger be a part of those things that are going well and doing good is really, really positive for the Chicago Cubs fans. So is Cody Bellinger back? No, Cody Bellinger is not back, but Cody Bellinger looks like a Major League Baseball player right now. Cody Bellinger will be productive. Cody Bellinger will have a positive impact on this team. The defense was always going to be there, was always going to be great, but now if Cody Bellinger can even be close to league average offensively, which he's well above right now, but if he can be close to league average this season with that good defense, this could be big for the Cubs. Could be big, and we're seeing some glimpses that maybe Cody Bellinger could be even a little bit better than average offensively, which is huge. So we won't say he's back, but Cody Bellinger looking pretty good to start the year. My ear is so itchy. I don't know what's going on in there. Is the Cubs bullpen good enough? Yes and no. There's some interesting arms out there, but overall probably not the best. Do you think if Belly plays well during his Cubs contract that he can end up with the Dodgers again? I mean, the Dodgers would take good players. Like, I think the good Dodgers are in the business of making good players, but I don't think Cody Bellinger necessarily wants to go back to LA. It seems like he just needed maybe a change of scenery a little bit. Things have gotten tough. He needed a little bit of a change. I'm sure he wouldn't count it out. If they want to pay him, like, why wouldn't he? But end of the day, I think he's going to probably stay away from LA for now. All right, Atlanta Braves versus San Diego Padres. Braves win this one 2-0. Max Fried made a very, very good start coming off the IL. What do we get? 5 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Very, very solid against a pretty decent Padres lineup. I do got to say, like, I don't know. Is this crazy? But I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Juan Soto. Like a little bit concerned, especially against lefties. He is big time struggle busting. Like, okay, he still hits the ball very hard. He's still a beast. Like, it's not that Juan Soto's not going to be good, but like there definitely is a left-handed pitching problem. Definitely a lefty problem where Juan Soto might be starting to get found out a little bit by the pitchers on the left-hand side, and yeah, Max definitely has his number a little bit there too. I think Soto's getting stuck in that Joey Votto phase that we've talked about a couple times where he's just really, it seems like a hyper-focused on taking pitches, on not being aggressive, and he's not off to a great start. Do I think he's going to finish 164 on the year? No. I think he's probably going to end up being just fine, but it is something to monitor that Juan Soto is off to a very, very slow start this year, and especially against left-handed pitching. Manny Machado is also off to a crazy slow start, but all these guys are good. They'll be fine. Just talking about it. Nelson Cruz smacking the baseball, though. Bottom of the order, go figure. I was going to say is absolutely horrible. Like, this has got to be one of the worst 7, 8, 9 in baseball. That's coming from a Met fan who had like Eduardo Escobar and Tomas Nido hitting. But Austin Nola, Jose Azocar, Brandon Dixon, Rougned Odor, whatever the mix is there, that is bad. How has Juan Soto started in other years? You know what? Let's take a look at how Juan Soto has started in other years. That's an interesting thing. Let us take a look. More Soto pages. Let's go batting logs 2018. 2019. 2020 is weird because that would be the whole year. In 2022. All right, so Juan Soto in 2018, we're how many games in are we? We just look at the record. We are 18 games in for Juan Soto. So Juan Soto's first 18 games of his career. That's 19. First 18 games of his career, he was off to a super hot start. So it's a little different start of a career. Let's go first 18 in 2019. 2019, he was off to still a very good start. Not amazing, not like, wow, this is unbelievable, but it's pretty awesome. Like a 392 on base and 869 OPS. That's pretty solid. 2020, It's basically like the whole season. Let's go the first 18. We know he was off to a crazy start because he had just an unreal 2020. Yeah, 1,300 OPS. First 18 of 2021. Juan Soto looks like he was off to a decent start. Yep. 874. Again, just very, very solid. And then last year, what did Juan Soto start the season with for the first 18? This one looks a little bit colder, but he was still walking a ton, and he was on the Nationals where they didn't even need to throw him a strike. They could just be like, oh, we'll just pitch to all the other non-major league players on your team. So this is definitely the worst start to Soto's season I think he's ever had, right? I mean, a 707 OPS, which is kind of funny because, like, that's still not horrible. That's, like, still just slightly below league average, and he does have the most walks in baseball. But yeah, he's definitely struggling. And on the pitching side, Ryan Weathers looked very, very good. I'd actually like to see what Ryan Weathers' numbers are because he's now made a couple good starts. He made a good start against the Mets as well in the game that they won, only one of the series. I'm assuming not a lot of red for Ryan Weathers. Yeah, doesn't strike anybody out. Not great spin. Doesn't get a lot of whiffs, but he does limit hard contact. Doesn't get barreled up. Doesn't really walk guys. Those are things that can maybe stick a little bit. And yeah, Braves win. Ronald Acuna Jr., beast. Austin Riley, beast. Sean Murphy didn't get a hit in this game, but he had been swinging the bat really, really well. Vaughn Grissom is now up, of course, because there's been some injuries going on. He's starting off the year pretty hot. But yeah, good win for the Braves. 13-4 on the season. Moving on to the Brewers versus the Marineros, the Seattle Mariners. Corbin Burnes, Chris Flexen on the mound for this one. Corbin Burnes left the game early. Do we have any news on Corbin Burnes' injury? Corbin Burnes leaves with a pectoral strain. Do they have... doesn't seem like there is any... Left with a left pec strain. The early read is it's minor, but Brewers will watch closely. He could make his next start. Okay. Braves should put like 5 on him and said they miss a lot of opportunities. Got it. Yeah, but in this one, Brewers are just, like, I think a very good team, guys. I think we can probably start to believe in the Brewers being a legitimately good team. And again, they still haven't even necessarily got the best out of their aces in Burnes and Woodruff. Woodruff on the IL. Burnes leaving this game early and still not really even being that sharp. Only 3 strikeouts, but the bullpen is cash money as always. Bryce Terang got a home run. This one, everybody pretty much was hitting. Willie Adames. William Contreras has been a really, really nice addition in the middle of that order. Brian Anderson stays hot. Luke Voigt, Garrett Mitchell, Owen Miller. Everywhere you look, the Brewers are just swinging the bat really well. And on the Mariners side, we got a nice home run from Julio Rodriguez to right field. Ty France and Eugenio Suarez continue to mash. Big Dumper hit a home run. You'd think they would have scored a lot more runs in this, but you look at the bottom of this order. Granted, Kelenich's been playing well, so I won't include him in this. But Cooper Hummel simply gets way too many at-bats. I mean, I don't know what we're doing. Why is Cooper Hummel getting so many at-bats? What is the reasoning behind this? Why does Cooper Hummel have, okay, I guess it's only 21 at-bats, but like I feel like I see Cooper Hummel in this lineup too often. Kolten Wong has been horrendous, bad, terrible. I don't know why or what's going on there. J.B. Crawford's not good. Let's take a look at the Mariners roster. The A's are so bad. How do you get rid of William Contreras for Esteury Ruiz? I mean, that's like not relatively what there was a 3-way trade, but like, yeah. Hitter-wise, like, yeah, Cooper Hummel and Tom Murphy. Jose Caballero? Who's Jose Caballero? Who's Jose Cowboy? Tommy La Stella. Yeah, there's just... AJ Pollock will probably bounce back, but again, he's a little bit older. Do you have anybody in the minors that could be coming up a little bit here? Because that is not a lot of good swinging going on there. Jonathan Clase, Cade Marlowe, Dylan Moore's hurt, Sam Haggerty's hurt, Taylor Trammell's hurt. Evan White. Whoa, what happened to Evan White? What's his injury? I forgot this guy existed. When's the last time Evan White played in a baseball game? Hasn't been in the major since 2021. Left abductor strain on April 9th. I don't know. I think Cooper Hummel, they don't want AJ Pollock to play against righties, maybe. That would be the only thing that I could imagine. Pretty much what happened is the Braves didn't get anything from the Brewers, so it's really just the A's trading Contreras to the Brewers. I guess that's true. I mean, the A's didn't get anything in the trade from anybody. Mark, have you noticed the divide in the Giants fan base when it comes to Farhan? It's pretty bad. Yeah, and I can see it. I think it's very similar to what is happening right now with Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox, although I think everybody hates Chaim now in Boston. Like, Farhan and Chaim had very similar paths of, like, they had this one miracle season where everything went right, and you're like, oh, maybe they are really, really smart. And then every other year has been bad. Every other year has been disappointing. Yeah, sometimes, like, not to say, like, these dorks, because, like, I don't think that's, like, fair, but, like, the traditional baseball fan or the old school guy who probably hates them will call them dorks. Like, these dorks sometimes get lucky, and it gets taken as, like, they know everything, when in actuality, maybe they're overthinking things, and that could be happening with Farhan and Chaim. Farhan also didn't really bring in any big players. He went after Correa, couldn't get him with the injury stuff. Went after Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge used him to get a better contract from the Yankees, so clap it up for Aaron Judge. That's capitalism at its finest. Didn't the Mariners give Evan White like a 6-year deal? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. And it's a cautionary tale. Yeah, 6 years, 24. Like, it doesn't cost anything. It was cheap. It was very, very cheap. That's what, $4 million a year, and they have team options afterwards. But, you know, sometimes you probably can wait a little bit to pay these dudes. You don't have to. Red Sox and Yankees try too hard to be the Rays. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, Chaim Bloom came from the Rays, so... How did Brett Baty do this weekend? I saw he got called up. He got called up yesterday. Yesterday was the official call-up. We'll talk about that game right now since that's the last game of the day. Got a hit in this one, drove in a run. Brett Baty's here. We love it. He went, 1 for 4? Yeah, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Got a hit or an RBI a little bit later in the game in a very nice moment that, like, helped get the Mets, you know, some space there. Mets had a really, really good offensive game against Dustin May. They're, like, the first team that kind of made him look a little bit human this year. 8 hits, 5 earned, only 1 strikeout, which is so awesome. Like, the Mets, they do wear you down. There's no doubt that, yeah, they lack some power. Yeah, they've been a little bit hot and cold offensively, but the Mets do not strike out. The Mets really, really know how to wear down a pitcher, and it looks like they just kind of had their way with Dustin May. Brandon Nimmo, another great game, 3 for 5, getting on base, scoring runs. Pete Alonso's just in front of our eyes becoming one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. There's a huge change that we've seen thus far from Pete Alonso. I don't know if I talked about it on here or if I talked about it on the Mets Up podcast. But there's a huge change in Pete Alonso's game. Tell me if you guys can notice anything. Tell me if there's anything that you guys notice about Pete Alonso's Baseball Savant page from these years, from the previous years, to now. It's not the defense. Don't care. Don't care how he plays defense at first. How about this chase rate? 71st percentile for a guy who pretty much hovered in the 20th and 30th percentile in chase rate in previous years. The chase rate has dropped massively. And for a guy who hits the ball more, who hits the ball incredibly hard, pretty consistently, for Pete Alonso to be able to not chase and really just kind of lock in on the pitches that he wants to hit, which he hits hard, by the way. His barrel rate's incredible. It's huge for Pete Alonso's game. This is something that you see from some of the best hitters in baseball. You want to talk about someone who doesn't chase at all? Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt doesn't chase. You want to know why? Because he's really good. Because Paul Goldschmidt's a beast. I mean, like, even in the 60th percentile, you're pretty good, but look at some of the great years that Paul Goldschmidt's had, not chasing, barreling extremely well. That's something that we're seeing with Pete Alonso right now. Pete is 100% in the MVP conversation right now. He's playing out of his mind. He's got all the numbers. He leads the league in home runs. Like, there's no reason not to. Also, pumped for my boy Jeff McNeil. Shout out Jeff McNeil. Got off the schneid, 3 for 5 day, back to 250. Swinging the bat a little bit better. He loves playing in LA, I think. He just enjoys it. Danny Vogelback getting a home run, which was phenomenal. Love to see Vogelback swinging the bat a little bit for some power because he does have a great eye. There's no doubt that Danny Berger's got a great eye, but to see the home run, the power come out, phenomenal. Use Tommy Pham in a good scenario too there. Buck Showalter, shout out to you for being a good manager. And Brett Baty making his debut on the season looked great. David Peterson, this is going to sound stupid. This is going to sound like Mets bias, but didn't actually pitch this poorly. Like, no walks. Love that. 6 strikeouts. Love that. When he gave up the hits, though, they were hit exceptionally hard. Brooks Raley got me scared, but he ended up doing well. And then Drew Smith looked fantastic out of the bullpen in his one at-bat against Miguel Vargas. And Adam Ottavino shut the door, although the K rate is not particularly high for Adam Ottavino this year. I want to say it's shockingly low. Where is it? It's 29%. I thought, honestly, it feels like Ottavino has not been striking out many guys, but maybe that's just like the last few appearances. But yeah, Ottavino's been great. He's been able to get left-handed hitters out, which is huge. As for the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman had a big game, 2 home runs in this one. Max Muncy stays hot with the 7th home run of the year. He's swinging the bat a lot better. James Outman, I got to see him up close and personal, and he was phenomenal. I mean, in his one at-bat, he crushed the ball off Brooks Raley. Mookie Betts, like this team is good, but they do have their problems. Miguel Rojas at the bottom of the order. Austin Wynns, you knew was going to do something in this game. You knew it. You knew it. And that was pretty much it for them. Yeah, does Buck Showalter love former Orioles too much? Jimmy Yacobonis actually has some really, really interesting stuff. It just happens, I guess, to be a former Oriole. I didn't know. But yeah, Jimmy Yacobonis actually has some interesting stuff. Bryce Harper at first. He's not back today, is he? Right? They didn't bring him back already. But yeah, the Phillies are talking about playing Bryce Harper at first base. I don't necessarily agree with. I feel like just DH the guy. Maybe don't force it. Let Bohm just play first base, because Bohm seems to be playing better since he's moved to first base and hasn't really had to worry about fielding at third. No, I didn't go to the game, SSJ Radio. I don't know. I said up close and personal and I got to watch him on TV and, like, pay attention. DBU pitcher Drew Smith. Yes, Drew Chains. But I got me a few on. You got to do the chain thing where you bite it. Drew Chains, though, yeah, he's been a beast. His fastball looked really, really good. And he was throwing it up in the zone, too, which is big because he's got velo behind it. So it's definitely a legit swing and miss, legit out pitch, and I'm glad to see that he's throwing it up in the zone. Got a couple rainouts yesterday, too, so if you guys are playing fantasy baseball today, we do have 1 o'clock game, so make sure you get your lineup in before then so that you don't have to worry about this. How's Aroldis Chapman doing? Aroldis Chapman's doing really, really well. Aroldis Chapman is back. Aroldis Chapman is 100% back, which is like kind of scary because nobody really wanted him this offseason, but he's pumping like 102 again. Don't worry about average X velo and all that. The chase rate is a little concerning, but like nobody's touching him. He's striking out a ton. Aroldis Chapman is back. There's no doubt that Aroldis Chapman's back. Now, how long will it last? I don't know, but 12 strikeouts in 6 innings with a whip at .67 for him, he's back. I just remember seeing Jimmy being terrible as an O's fan, so it was weird to still see he's pitching. Yeah, he made 1 appearance for the Mets thus far. He has some interesting stuff. He's definitely like a guy that's worth keeping on the roster as like a depth minor league arm that could come up if you need it. But yeah, it was a quick baseball day yesterday. I've just been incredibly busy, so I didn't have as much time to put into this one, and I do apologize for you guys for that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them right now and just take these last few minutes here to talk with you guys about what's going on in baseball or any questions. Can you talk about the Phillies game on Sunday since their game was postponed yesterday? Did the Phillies win on Sunday? I don't even remember if they won. Yeah, they did, 14-3. I'll give you a quick little thing. Aaron Nola looked good, which was big. They had 23 hits, which is good for an offense that has been relatively quiet. They got to, what was it, Connor Overton? No, Luis Sessa. Yeah, that guy really stinks. Bryson Stott continues to swing the bat well. Trey Turner is a beast. Kyle Schwarber heating up a little bit. Brandon Marsh hitting almost 400, which is kind of crazy. There's some things that the Phillies are doing right. They're still 6-10 though, and they haven't really played, I feel like, some great teams. But the Phillies are definitely a big struggle busting right now. All right, well, do you believe that we were seeing the true Jared Kelenic? I think there's an in-between with Jared Kelenic. I don't think he's going to hit 333 and keep this pace by any means, but with Jared Kelenic, he is hitting the ball hard. He is barreling well. He is cutting down the chase rate, which is also confusing that he's still striking out as much as he has with the low whiff rate too and everything. Like, this is not the Jared Kelenic. And I'll say this too. This is probably not the Jared Kelenic. It's probably somewhere in between, which still gives you a very, very solid player. Someone asked earlier, but thoughts on the Rangers City Connects? Sure, let's pull that up. Rangers City Connect jerseys. In case you guys haven't seen the Rangers announce their City Connect jerseys, here's what they look like. What do you guys think? Do you like them? Do you hate them? I like them, but I don't like them at the same time. Like, I think the hat's awful. I think the hat's really bad. And I don't know if I like the pants, but I don't know if I don't like the pants. Does that make sense? I definitely like the jersey. I think the jersey's cool. It's different. I look at it and I do get a Texas vibe. I know it's a City Connect, so it should be more Dallas and Arlington related. I don't really know what the relation is there. But they look good and bad at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, the hat and logo I don't particularly like. To me, that looks weird. How are you feeling about Beatty? Expectations seem astronomical for him. I feel really good. I'm a huge Beatty guy. Will the Rockies make their first 100-loss season this year for the first time in franchise history? Maybe. They might. Jersey's clean, but the pants and hat are to be desired. And maybe they'll look better on the field, too, these jerseys, but right now, not great. If Sixto Sanchez returns and Yuri Perez comes up, that could be an X factor for the Marlins. You are correct, Anga. That could be an X factor for the Marlins. Does Ohtani get dealt at the deadline, and where does he ultimately sign in free agency? I don't think he gets dealt at the deadline, and I think he either signs with the Mets or the Dodgers. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anyone from your hometown that you watched when you were a kid and they made it to the majors? You watched Griffin Canning mow down guys when he was 11 and you were 8. I played with Brandon Belak. That's the closest thing I really have. And Alex Reyes was from Elizabeth, and he played on the same club team as me. He was a year older, but I caught a bullpen next to him when he was like 16, 17 years old, and it was terrifying because I was like, oh, this guy's throwing like 95. Anybody else from Full Count? I played for Full Count in New Jersey that I'm trying to think of right now. Nick Deeney was someone that when I did catching drills, I was 14. He was on the 18U team or 17U team. And I was a catcher at the time, so I did catching drills with Nick Deeney. But like nobody's really like popped per se. Alex Reyes is probably the closest. But I didn't really know him. Brandon Belak, I legitimately knew him, played on the same team with him. He's on the Astros. Jersey's clean, but the pants. Sixto is the Marlins' next closer. That's probably a better spot for him than starting pitching because his arm is like roast beef. White Sox prospect was on your high school team and got picked in the 3rd round 2019. Was it Wes Kath? No, Wes Kath wasn't that. Who was the Jared Kelly? You talking Jared Kelly? King Higgins? I think he was a 3rd round pick, right? Pitcher? Who do you have as a guaranteed... Oh, no, 2019. That's 2020. Who do you have as a guaranteed MLB stars in the next MLB draft? Honestly, have not done that much research on the MLB draft just yet. My mind has very much been focused on what's been going on now. As the months move on, we will definitely be getting it. But Max Clark, I know, is the big name that everyone's talking about. Jack Caglione. I don't even know if he's available for the draft yet, but Jack Caglione's unreal. If Ohtani was to be dealt, what teams have the assets and make sense? I mean, honestly, I think the Mets have the assets. You'd be trading like Beatty, Alvarez type players. Who else? Rangers probably low-key have the assets. They have some really good prospects. You just need to have like probably 3 or 4 really good prospects right now. I was in their top 10 for a second, but struggled. Okay. Damn. Acuna leading in WAR. He is back. Oh, Ronald Acuna is so back. Ronald Acuna is so back. Let's look at his Savant, too, and see if the stuff is a little sticky, as we say. But Ronald Acuna is he was, not me. I was like, okay, I think I read it. I was like, you. And then I was like, oh, I think he's talking about Dalquist. Yeah, Ronald Acuna is back. Might just not care about defense. And honestly, if I'm a Braves fan, I don't care either. Hit like this, you're fine. 1046 OPS. He's super good. That's where I'm going to wrap it up, guys, though. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Tomorrow, we will be back at 11 a.m. to talk a little bit more. Hopefully have a little bit more of a planned show. I'm not as busy today as I was yesterday. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow, and thanks for hanging out. Peace out, guys.